That's right. Welcome in, welcome back, folks, to a More Than Meets the Eye edition of the Always Irish Show. As always, you can find the program on YouTube. Do hit subscribe if you haven't yet. I'd appreciate that very much. Give the video a thumbs up as well. Helps in the search algorithm. I appreciate that as well. Twitter, search bar Always Irish, or at Always Irish Inc. Emails, alwaysirishnd@gmail.com. Audio only anywhere you want me. Call in line 312-900-8815. You got something on your mind? Call and tell me what you mean. Here we are. Deja vu for old Johnny here in his own brain. Here I am again. This is a super interesting dynamic to me. Follow me here. This is a repeat of a show, but it's a totally new show at the exact same time. If you've been around here for a while, you may already have an idea of where I'm going with this and what I'm referencing, but at the same time, maybe not. I remember this dynamic I'm talking about because it was actually the first video I ever put out on YouTube video. Back in my old office, I used to wait till the workday was over and then pull out the microphone and record at my desk. It was the original video I did that we're going to tie into modern times now. I did at that old office. It was the first video I actually ever put on YouTube, so it's sensitive and close to my heart. The theme of that video 3 years ago was how symbolic to me the recruitment of five-star running back Will Shipley was at that time for Mr. Brian Kelly and Notre Dame. I spoke about the smaller recruiting net Notre Dame could throw in the water for elite players because of academics, no pay for play, no games, you got to be able to get good grades, all of that. So my point with that original video was when you're Brian Kelly and you have a guy that's a great student, he's from a great family, he's well-spoken and respectful, and he's a great five-star player. There's not many recruits in the nation that fit that bill. My argument was Notre Dame needs to land the kids that check all those boxes or have no chance of winning anything anybody cares about. Think about it. We're already not getting the hat flippers, the guys who will go to the highest bidder. Now the NIL pay-for-play stuff. That's never going to be Notre Dame's ball game. I don't want it to be. Our net we cast is just always going to be smaller than other schools that have looser academics or play games behind the scenes to get guys to go there. I made a huge deal philosophically about this dynamic with Will Shipley. Sure enough, he went to Clemson. Now, I know he had Clemson family ties and all that. Fine. I know the reasons he went there wasn't that he hated Notre Dame or Brian Kelly, but he was a Clemson guy. Fine. But the bottom line is, regardless of the reasons, you either get a guy to come to your school or you're last, and it doesn't matter. I don't care the reason. You either get the guy or you don't get the guy. He's making plays for you or he's making plays against you. There's no in-between in recruiting, okay? So I made a big deal about the idea symbolically, what it would mean for the program if Notre Dame was able to grab a five-star running back away from Clemson 3 years ago. This would have been at their height. What a big deal that would have been symbolically, what that could have led to a little bit of a turning point in the perception of Brian Kelly and elite recruiting and all that. We didn't get him. I made a big deal about it and what it would mean we didn't get him. Now, exit the Kelly era, enter the Freeman era. Here I go again. I am staring at an almost exact philosophical position. Marcus Freeman landing a 5-star athlete, a great student with a great family, great parents, having Dante Moore fit check all those boxes. Getting him to commit and end up at Notre Dame. It would be every bit as symbolic as it would be practical and tactical for Notre Dame. Let me explain what I mean. Number one, 5-star talent at the most important position in all of sports. That's an obvious on-field benefit. Here's number two, though. This is where it starts getting interesting. Saying you want a 5-star quarterback because they're good at football isn't exactly breaking news. I'm not going to waste my breath telling you guys how important that would be and is to everybody, every school, every coach, every team. But here's the second thing this would be able to do. If Freeman was able to pull this off, a guy who checks all the Notre Dame boxes, just like Shipley, great grades, 5-star, good family, well-spoken, respectful, all that. If he's able to do that right away, Marcus Freeman is able to accomplish something Brian Kelly never could. Land your top quarterback choice, who is a 5-star that a bunch of other teams want. In my opinion, Brian Kelly never figuring this out is one of the main reasons he's gone, and this has all unfolded the way it is. Even when Kelly recruited and got the commitment of a guy that was a high 4 or 5-star quarterback, a lot of times it didn't work out. Right? But regardless of the reason, Kelly not figuring out how to get elite play out of his quarterbacks, whoever they are, wherever they come from, how many stars, is one of the main reasons he's gone. So it's a big deal at Notre Dame to figure this part out. Here's the third thing. Change the narrative. Change the narrative. Now, I know you could say, John, look at the class. It's already ranked number 1 in 2023. How much more do you want? I'm not saying they're not doing an excellent job, but you get the 5-star shiny quarterback. That pulls in a lot of eyeballs. Not only of writers, people who follow recruiting saying, whoa, what's Notre Dame got going on here? Do they really have a chance to end up in the top 1, 2, or 3 classes? 2023, all that. But it also changes the narrative among other recruits. Okay? Changes the narrative with other recruits. Looking at Notre Dame a little different, saying, whoa, this guy I was playing at that all-star camp's going there. I'm interested. Okay? Here's the fourth thing, and it's related to number 3. The snowball effect. I am convinced that if Dante Moore ends up coming to Notre Dame, there's going to be at least a couple receivers that join right after. Where a couple areas of severe need to me for us to win playoff games, upgrade that wide receiver and elite quarterback play. Those are requirements now. Not special extra toys. They're requirements to get the job done. Landing Moore would be the exact definition of what is meant when people put out the Freeman factor. This is it. It isn't his experience and winning head coach history like Brian Kelly. That's not why Marcus Freeman got this job. He got this job more because of his personality, his ability to relate to players and recruits and all of that. Okay? That right now is his biggest asset. Maybe as Marcus Freeman gets more comfortable with head coaching and all that, then it becomes more of a practical on-field thing where he has a solid body of work as a head coach as well. He doesn't have that yet. So to me, he got this job because of that dynamic personality, and the idea of that is it will lead to elite recruiting results. I will even go this far even if Freeman landed more and he ended up not ever living up to the hype, practically, that would be disappointing for Notre Dame and Marcus Freeman. But philosophically, it'd still be a win. It'd still be a win. You don't know what the guy's going to turn into. But what you do know is right now he's a 5-star guy a lot of top programs want. And if Marcus Freeman's able to pull this off, it would just create a lot of momentum, a lot of gravity, a lot of credibility that now is kind of, we hope it's going to be. I'm sorry. It's just different when it's a 5-star quarterback than a 5-star anything else. It's just a totally different discussion. Different ball game. All right? Make no doubt you need 5-star linemen and receivers and everything else. Quarterbacks, different. New coach, new vibe, new era. I want new results when it comes to these elite recruiting battles. New results. Change the narrative. Year one. And let everybody know Notre Dame's a player now. Notre Dame's a true player now. For Notre Dame ever to win a playoff game, these are the type of battles that have to be won by whoever the head coach is at Notre Dame. Brian Kelly had so many years to get this done, came so close so many times. We end up not getting a guy. Freeman can do this. Freeman can pull this off. You almost hate putting so much weight into the recruitment of one guy. But practically, it's just so important because of the position it is. There's no more important position in individual sports. This is it. So practically, this changes everything. And philosophically, with the perceptual shift, this recruitment would have so many positive and lasting effects on the field and what it would lead to in other recruitments. I don't want to make it a bigger deal than it is, but at the same time, there's no better time than the present to go ahead and prove why Freeman factor's different and for him to optimize the main reason I think he got this job. That personality, that ability to communicate and relate, all of that I feel he has more of than Brian Kelly does naturally. I'm not insulting Brian Kelly. He did a lot of great things. But if it's who do I trust to go in an 18-year-old's room and win this recruitment, it's Freeman. Just because of that vibe, that delivery, that relatable, humble personality. All right? So, let's see the hashtag Freeman factor deliver on this one. From there, I'm telling you, it's off to the races. This could trigger something. I have confidence in Freeman in this regard a lot more than I ever did in Kelly, just because of that personality difference. And again, I'm not saying if Dante Moore ends up going somewhere else, Freeman's a bust, or this means he's just like Kelly. No, there'll be another guy he could work this on. But this is the one all Notre Dame fans have their hearts on. It's on all the articles, all the YouTube, people like me. He's that guy that's clearly the number one priority target over everybody else. He's getting the red carpet treatment. Pull this off. Pull it off. Practically great. Perceptually great. Philosophically great. Snowball in recruiting great. Momentum for Marcus Freeman great. All of it. All of it. I have way more confidence in Freeman pulling this off than I ever did 3 years ago in my little office talking about Brian Kelly trying to get Will Shipley. All right? So, very similar discussion. This one recruitment would change a lot. It would. And I'm really, really trying not to over-exaggerate this. But it being a quarterback, Freeman's first year, the main reason I think he got the job is this dynamic. That all adds up to where, get it done. Get it done. And it's off to the races. I don't believe from what I'm seeing Michigan's that big of a factor anymore for him. I see Oregon thinks they're in the mix. I don't know what to think. Here's the interesting one, though. In certain circles, they're saying Brian Kelly's in the mix for this guy at LSU. I don't even know what this program would look like if Brian Kelly couldn't land one of these top-end quarterbacks all the decades he was at Notre Dame. And if he goes to LSU and then steals this guy out from Marcus Freeman in his first year when he couldn't do it at Notre Dame, I don't know how this show's going to go, but I can tell you it's going to be very entertaining for you. Might be bad for me, but very entertaining for you. I don't think that's going to happen. Dante Moore seems to be a relationship type guy. He values that. There's no way in hell he's going to have more of that relationship with Brian Kelly than Marcus Freeman. It's just not possible. Different personalities. It's just not practically possible. So, for on-field reasons, perceptual reasons off the field about the program and Freeman, get this snowball rolling with some of these top wide receivers that want to play with the top quarterback, Tate, anybody else, whoever, right? So, I don't want to be over dramatic, even though my show is known for being overly dramatic, but it's just deja vu to me, having this philosophical discussion a few years down the road from the last time I had it. And I feel like we're in a much, much better position this time. Prove it, Marcus. Prove it. Everybody's just kind of on pins and needles, waiting for these dominoes to fall. Pulling this one off could set a lot of really good things in motion. So I want to see the hashtag Freeman factor pull through on this. Change the narrative Brian Kelly couldn't figure out in 11 years in less than one. It's a new world for Notre Dame football if he's able to do it. Find a way to make this kid know and feel Notre Dame is home. Let's get it done.